What's going on, everyone? My name is Nicholas Merton here at DataDash, and today is September 8th of 2017. Man, not only does it feel good to say that, it feels awesome to be back making content for you all. I apologize, I had a little bit of a delay over the past week or so. I was out in Palo Alto with a fellow business partner that I'm actually really in strong talks about working with. I'm really excited about it. It was a really great time going out there and seeing that place for the first time and getting to meet everyone. But nonetheless, this doesn't mean that I'm not going to be creating content for you all. I'm back in action. I'm going to be creating about 2 videos a day as always for you all, and I'm ready to get back into it. And I thought, why not, seeing as I've been missing so much news in cryptocurrency, I might as well do a market update video. It is Friday after all, so I'm ready to dive into it. We're going to be talking about Bitcoin. We're going to be talking about Ethereum, talking about all the news in China related to cryptocurrencies and ICOs, and along with that, I'm going to tell you all a few cryptocurrencies that I'm really watching this week, some of my weekly picks. I'm going to start doing that on my weekly videos. I'm going to tell you all about a coin or two that I'm really optimistic on, and there's one of them in which we're actually doing an interview with later on today. So again, I'm coming back strong. I got content for you all, and let's jump right into it. I'm really glad to be back. So first and foremost, we got to talk about the big player, Bitcoin. That's almost like a tongue twister there, but I want to talk about what where we left off last week. So we were calling back here, back in August, really that Bitcoin was going to see some resistance at 5,000, and we called it perfectly, folks. Bitcoin pretty much, it depends on the exchange you looked at, but basically went to 5,000 and saw instant rejection of price action, started selling off, and we were actually talking about it live on the Discord after one of our live streams. And again, it had pretty much a 20% pullback in price action. Went around $5,000 to $5,000 to $4,000 in Bitcoin's price. So a 20% price pullback in such a short period of time, about 4 days. That's pretty strong price action. So I think we're just really seeing the beginning now of a pullback in Bitcoin. We really need it. I mean, just to show you in scale before we get into detail, if we go here to the weekly, I mean, folks, this has just been a massive bull run since July. Now, I'm not being negative on Bitcoin in the sense of the long term. I really do like Bitcoin, and I'm thinking that this could be a great opportunity we could get in. But, folks, it looks like it's topping over. We're seeing the same resistance we saw at 3,000. It's a big even. Markets usually have pullbacks, and we need one. We've gone from $1,800 to $5,000. It's time for a little bit of a pullback, and I'm still confident on my $3,400 to $3,500 price range. But I want to get into a little bit more specific detail because I think we've got a catalyst that just came in today that really could serve as kind of the funding factor of getting the market to go down towards new lows. And if you don't know what funding means, it's fear, uncertainty, and doubt, meaning that it's really not fundamental change, but it's people getting scared about headlines, getting scared about news. And it provides great opportunities to buy at lows. So as we can see here, Bitcoin had a pretty stellar drop on the hourly. Over 2 hours, it went from $4,600 to $4,200. So pretty big price action. Why did we see this? It was a simple recent headline that came out. Bitcoin came out, China came out stating that cryptocurrency exchanges in China, or local exchanges in China, were potentially going to be shut down by the government. So again, I want to make it clear. I want to do this in the most non-biased way, but at the same time, really follow the facts on this, folks. So China came out today stating that they're going to potentially shut down exchanges. Let's look at this in a current situation, okay? They've stated that they might do it, might being the key word. And along with that, right now, everything's still functional. Much like when we were talking about NEO, I'm going to take the same exact approach here. There's supposed news that they might crack down on things, but right now, everything's normal. The only thing that's changed fundamentally since we last talked was that ICOs are now currently kind of banned in China temporarily. You can't go out and create new ICOs and raise money. Now, the reason they're doing that, they haven't banned it for eternity. And if they were to do that, China would instantly be like, all right, let's just give up on China. Let's look towards other places that actually really want to win in this space, because I think China realizes more than anything blockchain is the future. Right now, though, in the ICO market, things are just not regulated. It was a $400 million market, as we talked about in our NEO video. ICOs are raising tons of money, many of which were scams, running away with the money. So okay, we'll talk a little bit more about ICOs later, but I think that there's decent understanding as to why China really wants to temporarily ban it and really look towards real players who want to follow regulatory structure and really want to be big players in the long run. But on the topic of cryptocurrencies and exchanges being shut down in China, I mean, you can see this really didn't just affect Bitcoin. Bitcoin is probably the biggest in market cap drop because it's the biggest player. But we see Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Litecoin. I mean, there's no coin on here that's green. It's all negative. And IOTA is down extremely strong, 22%. So, I mean, this is some serious sell-side action. Now, here's the one thing I really want you to take into mind. And I always try to tell y'all, if you're going to look at articles and news, look for that one part that no one's talking about. Don't look at the headline. Dig into it and actually read it. And one of the interesting things, I don't get why they always have it. It's usually the last paragraph. Read this right here. This isn't the first time China's talked about banning exchanges, okay? And it's just like history. It's doomed to repeat itself. You know, a lot of people back in 2013 when China came out stating that they wanted to stop exchanges of the Chinese yuan with Bitcoin on Bitcoin China, Bitcoin saw a 50% reduction in price. 50%. It's pretty much near all new highs. Folks, we can't look at this in the short term. China realizes it can't stop it. It can't stop general cryptocurrencies. There's no way of doing it. It's decentralized. They can't. I really want to get a picture to all of you out there who don't really understand, you know, blockchain as a whole, because I think a lot of people invest in crypto and they don't understand blockchain. I can't go knock on a door of some company, barge in, and completely stop a cryptocurrency from functioning. Some ICOs maybe that have centralized teams there that work on the project. You can't stop Bitcoin. You can't stop privacy coins, which we're going to talk a lot about later. And again, this is just, a lot of the times, folks, it's traditional fudding, okay? I really want you to keep in mind here. Keep a mindset that, you know, where we're at right now, nothing has changed. And even if they temporarily shut it down, China's not going to want to shut it down in the long term. Now, there is a general reason why I think this is happening. I think it's two reasons. One, I think that they want to have a decent sense of control and structure of the market, which I think is fine because, quite frankly, there was multi-million-dollar scams in the ICO market, where I understand there's a need for ICO regulation, as well as making sure people follow regulations and pay their taxes as well on cryptocurrencies. Folks, whether you like it or not, you know, political opinions, I'm all for government not being involved in things. At the end of the day, this is an equities market right now. People are making double-digit returns each week. You know, this is a serious tradable market. There is exchanges, just like with currencies, just like with stocks, whatever it may be. This is a real exchange. There are actually large sums of money coming into this, and I think the government wants to have a decent sense of control and understanding of it. I think that's fine, and I think it's standard. And whether you like it or not, that's how it is in equities markets. That's how it is with currencies. It's standard. You need that for big money to come in. So that all being realized, you know, it's just, there's a lot of change going on. But the second thing I'd say, too, that really is, I think, the underlying reason why China is concerned about this is China itself, out of all countries, has seen a lot of money flowing out of the country. We've been always talking about, you know, money coming out of the U.S., money coming out of all these, you know, kind of Western countries and coming into China, you know, for manufacturing, whatever it may be. Surprisingly, to a lot of people's knowledge, it turns out that a lot of money is flowing out of China right now. A lot of capital is coming out of the overvalued markets in China, and they're coming into other markets. China's not seeing the double-digit growth that it saw in its economy. And quite frankly, I think blockchain is going to be a kind of like call sign, like, look, China, you're going to need to keep innovating in your tech. You can't lose in this space. China right now is not seeing the fast growth that it used to see. Still growing fine, but at the same time, when those double-digit numbers start going away for GDP growth, money starts flowing out. They look for other options. And cryptocurrency has got lots of room to move in valuation. So, again, it's something that China can't stop. I think it wants to think it can, but at the same time, it can't. Governments can't stop this. It's decentralized. So, again, if you want my opinion on it, I take things in a logical sense. Nothing has changed right now. It's all talk. So you just got to keep in mind, you know, that this is talk for right now. But we're going to talk about ICOs as well, and how I actually think that it's going to be a good sense of news for one of our players, Neo, which we're going to take a look at as well. All right, real quick though, I want to talk about Ethereum since we're kind of going down the list here. Ethereum is looking very nice here for a potential buy going in, you know, towards the next few weeks, and seeing how Metropolis is taken. But quite frankly, folks, I think it's a great price level right now. We can see that we're looking at the Ethereum Bitcoin equivalent, and it's riding along this 200-day. Exactly where it needs to be. Exactly where Ethereum needs to be. That's why back here I told people not to be extremely eager for it, because you got to wait for those indicators. I know some people are eager to get into cryptocurrencies, but if you want to buy, I mean, generally speaking, folks, where do we talk about buying things? Do we buy things high or buy things low? We buy things low, and it is at more than a 50% discount comparative to Bitcoin right now. It's a perfect level to buy Ethereum if you really believe in it in the long term. And so far, EOS hasn't really come in to be that, all-seeing competitor against Ethereum. I think it's a completely fine leader right now. It's just been hard to keep up with Bitcoin, So I think if optimism comes into Ethereum, and if everything goes well with Metropolis, keep an eye on Ethereum. Ethereum can be a good buy here, but we'll have to see in time. Going here real quick, I want to take a look at coin market cap. We can see that we had the first big sell-off in cryptocurrencies, and then this was just the huge drop right here we saw with the news in China. But again, it looks like it's going to top over, go down to these lows, and we'll either find double bottom support down here, or we're going to continue down. And what I really think we're going to see is to find support at this previous resistance. I know it seems kind of bearish, and it might seem like that's another $34 billion that needs to be slashed at evaluation. Yeah, sure, it's a lot, but I really think that we could see it, quite frankly. So again, I mean, it's common market cycles. You have run-ups, you have pullbacks, run-ups, and then the support usually when the pullback comes is on previous resistance. I think we can see that in cryptocurrency markets, and with a serious pullback in Bitcoin, it's not too far-fetched. So keep that in mind. And yeah, we got Bitcoin here as well. As you can see, I wanted to just really emphasize the volume that really came pouring in over the past few hours. So again, though, nothing's fundamentally changed. Still, Bitcoin's a $70 billion asset. This is just incredible. So definitely interesting. Now, the one you all have been wanting me to cover to no avail, our good friend Neo. So Neo, the other day, where a lot of people had flooded over the past few days, who had sold, and they bought in to the ICO, scare that China implemented, where now new ICOs cannot be created in China for now, at least temporarily. Everyone sold their Neo. A lot of people sold their Neo. You can see the volume there. A lot of people sold it, and instantly, I was busy during the time, so I was like, dude, Neo's a long-term hold. I've promised that I'm not selling it. In this case, I was patient. I didn't have time to watch it really. I wasn't watching the chart, and quite frankly, I'm pretty much back up to where I bought it. A little bit down in some regards. We're down a little bit today, but nonetheless, we recovered so much of that loss just because we weren't funding. You just don't sell down here, folks, on a fundamental sense. Now, if you set limits to sell, I think that's fair. Sometimes you got to take partial shares and stuff like that. But if you really believe in it long term, like I've said, I've promised you all, I'm not selling Neo until I see Ethereum-style run-ups. I believe in this cryptocurrency. China as well is not going to stop Neo. Quite frankly, it's the opposite. They love Neo. Now, they can't go out and publicly say that, but I think out of all cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology out there, they love Neo. Neo has consistently been aligned with regulatory structure. They have been in contact with the Chinese government, Chinese regulators and finance markets. They have done everything they can to be the best player in the market right now. Okay? There's nothing to fear right now. Neo is still fully functional. In fact, Dao Hongfei is actually going to come out in the next day or so with a very big announcement for Neo. So keep in mind, just keep watching the headlines, join the Slack group, watch Twitter, really keep in tune with what they're doing. I think they've got a lot coming in the pipeline. And quite frankly, if you're scared about the ICO news that came out, it's actually a plus for China. China is banning new ICOs from the market. Really, think about this in a logical sense, okay? If China is banning the new ICOs, where all this money was flowing originally, and so long as Chinese exchanges for cryptocurrency keep up, well, all that new money that was going to go to separate ICOs is now stuck with less options. Neo, Quantum, a lot of other ICOs that are already on the market. Neo's been around since 2014. That money's going to go towards Neo. It's going to go towards other Chinese ICOs because people are going to want to put their money in cryptocurrency no matter what. Whether ICOs can be created or not, doesn't matter. Money's flowing into cryptocurrencies. And so long as those exchanges keep up, Neo's going to get a lot of that money. So I think the pullback we saw today, I mean, you can see the volume is definitely not as strong as we saw over here. I think it's moving with every other cryptocurrency right now. And seeing as it's a Chinese, cryptocurrency, it's going to feel a little bit more pain than others, but still, no drastic sell-off. Now, if it were down to these lows again, I'd be a little concerned if we're going to continue to see really ridiculous sell-off. But right now, fundamentally nothing has changed, folks. Really keep that in mind. I hate to be like overtly energetic about it, but I really want to drive that home. Nothing has changed. Nothing has changed. Nothing's affected NEO. NEO's still functioning. Again, really just look at this in the long term. So long as nothing fundamentally changes, you gotta look at the long-term perspective. Look at this as a buying opportunity. Now, of course, I'm no financial advisor, but I'm putting my money where my mouth is, folks. I'm holding my NEO positions. Okay? I'm not selling my core holdings in NEO until I feel comfortable with it. Okay? I have parts where I'll take partial shares along the way, but the majority of it I'm holding. I feel confident in NEO. Nothing's changed fundamentally, and because the fundamentals haven't changed, I don't fundamentally change my long-term investing, okay? So that's my opinion on it. Keep in perspective. Just keep a calm mind. Don't buy into fighting. Don't buy into FOMO as well. Keep a level-headed approach and really think about it in the long-term perspective. If you like NEO, you like gas, you like gas, you like the gas coming out of your NEO holdings, store it in your wallet, be patient, and reap the long-term benefit, okay? So, again, with the headlines, this is a really good thing that I like CNBC. I usually do not like CNBC. Most of these kind of traditional media companies and mainstream media do not cover cryptocurrency well. But they really brought in a good point. It's going to be fishing out the scammers and really could create regulatory competition and allow organizations that are very serious to raise serious capital. So, I think this is really the kind of perspective that you have to keep. I think this is the really bullish factor around it. And again, multi-billion-dollar market with ICOs. In China, $400 million. I mean, there was some serious need for regulation, folks. If you think something that has millions, if not billions of dollars flowing into it isn't going to see some kind of regulation, I mean, you probably haven't traded in equities markets before. I'm just letting you know. Taking my years of experience in it, I'm no whiz, I'm no god or anything, but I mean that's just fundamentals, folks. You need a sense of regulation, especially in a country like China. So, again, keeping that in mind here, we can also see this is the good thing to keep in mind here too. China's ICO ban does not mean they're giving up on cryptocurrencies. I really don't think they can stop it, and I don't think they want to stop blockchain technology. So, keep all that in mind. Now, with all this talk about governments coming in and censoring things, trying to stop cryptocurrencies, what's the big topic you think is going to take the headlines of cryptocurrencies? It's something we've talked about on this channel. Privacy coins. I don't think it's over, folks. I think we're just getting started on this. While the funding comes in, while all other cryptocurrencies are going to see pullbacks, I think we're going to see a reign of optimism for privacy coins. I think it's pretty standard. We've been seeing it so far, and I think we can continue the trend. And there's a lot of great opportunities out there that I think you should look for. So that all being realized, I'm going to show you all my top 2 picks of the week for at least a trade. But actually one of these is now one of my long-term investments and one I'm actually going to be doing an interview with later on this afternoon. The first one I want to talk about is Zcoin. Now we talked about this in my top 3 small caps video for September. But I'm really starting to like this more and more over the long term. As we talked about, Zcoin is one of the best privacy coins on the market, in my opinion. It has really interesting technology of how it doesn't censor. It keeps transactions not only encrypted, but also in the sense of not being able to be traced and completely private transactions. Really true intrinsic privacy in the sense of cryptocurrencies, whereas we don't really have that with Bitcoin. Bitcoin can be traced back. There's new methods that the government is using, and that privacy factor that used to be tied to Bitcoin, that encrypted privacy, is not there anymore. So a lot of money is going to start flowing towards these other coins we've talked about. We saw it with Navcoin. We saw Navcoin see a massive spike, and now it's a multi-million-dollar cryptocurrency. Zcoin, more than anything, looks like it needs a run-up. I mean, you see the price action here. We have this repetitive support here around, sorry, my mic's in the way. This support out, around 200,000 Satoshis. And we see continuous resistance at 700,000. I know this sounds overtly optimistic, but being a long-term player in it and someone who actually holds a position in it, I think not only could we see the price level come back to here, but like with Navcoin, we could really see it break past its resistance level. I think we could see it same as we saw with Monero, another player I'm going to be talking about in a minute. But we really just see a massive run-up in privacy coins. Zcoin is one of the leaders in this market. One of my admins, Speaker F, is huge on this, and we've been talking about it back and forth from time to time. And it's a really good player. I'm glad to be doing an interview with one of the team members. Actually, we're going to be doing it with a few team members from the team at Zcoin. And again, go watch my small cap video talking about Zcoin. It is literally one of the best players, I think, in this market. It's one of the most undervalued right now. So really, I think we could see it back up here. I think it could be a great long-term play going into the fall and winter, and I'm really going to keep this as a long-term hold along with Neo and a lot of my other strong players. So again, keep an eye on Zcoin. And then last but not least, I want to talk about Monero right now. The privacy space, Monero is the biggest privacy coin on the market, okay? And now we've seen a really drastic run up, and now it's over $100 right now in price. But folks, you know, we've seen it pull back right now. When do you buy it? Do you buy high or do you buy when it's a little bit low? Okay, it's not exactly low right now, but look where it happened to gain support here. Out of all places, let's go ahead and use our segment tool. What level do you see it found support at? Look at that. Oh, it's a little bit slanted, but previous resistance, folks. Right here and right up here. It's now found support at previous resistance. Again, previous resistance becomes support, okay? And right now we're seeing that in Monero. Now, if it breaks below there, I'd be a little bit concerned, but this looks like this might be a buy point for Monero. If you're looking for a large cap, I think a lot of money is going to go towards some other large caps if Bitcoin doesn't see that sense of confidence come back into it. I think it's going to be moving around towards other players. And what better player than Monero, because it's a privacy coin. So again, we'll have to see. There's no guarantee, but the volume to the sell side has not been there. The buying volume still holding. All these buyers that came in have not sold their cryptocurrency, or at least for the most part. So again, I'm optimistic on this. I think it's had a massive run up if we look here on the monthly, but again, we've seen with Litecoin and a lot of other players, it can happen out of nowhere. And really, if Bitcoin pulls back, privacy comes back into the headlines, Monero could be a good long-term hold. So I'm keeping this on my radar. I might make a position up here, but again, it's a little pricey, but nonetheless, I don't think it's at an area where I would feel extremely uncomfortable buying. I just would like to definitely, you know, see some optimistic price action in it while I'm holding it. So. Wouldn't we all, though? Anyways, everyone, that's it for the market recap. I'm so glad to be back and making content for y'all. I hope I was able to cover a lot of, you know, the news that's been happening in cryptocurrencies. I think we're going to continue to see a pullback in Bitcoin. I think the flooding is real right now. I think, though there's no fundamental changes, and I don't think they're going to freeze any exchanges, there's fear coming into the markets. There's fear coming to ICOs. It's some great times to look towards buys and diversifying your holdings and a lot of these cheaper cryptocurrencies on the market, and keep adding to your positions. Look long term, okay, folks? Well, that's it for the video, though. Keep an eye on Zcoin and Monero, my two favorite picks for the week. Other than that, everyone, stay tuned for other content on the channel, and I will see you all in the next video. Stay tuned.